Guys, how many of you remember this guy? How many of you remember him? This guy is called Alex Babel, the US missionary who came to Nigeria last month. He was in Nigeria last month. What was his mission? His mission was going from those states that was attacked by the Boko Haram and the Fulani terrorists. He went to those villages where mostly those attacks took place, to assist the community, help them to build some of their houses that was destroyed by these Fulani terrorists and Boko Haram. You understand? So while he was doing that in Nigeria, the attack was ongoing everywhere. The attack was ongoing everywhere in the northern state, in Benue, in Kaduna, in Kanu, and the Plateau state, and some of other part of the north where he could not even visit. So as the destruction was going on there, so he decided to be visiting those areas where those Boko Haram and the bandits killed people. So as he was doing that, he was also creating awareness to the public to know what is going on in Nigeria. That actually there is a lot of genocide going on in the northern states. That the Boko Haram and the bandits are buying people over there. That this is not just a propaganda. That this is real. It's happening real in Nigeria. So he started canvassing for those people that is being killed in the northern states. Not until the federal government sees him as a threat, sees him that he is inciting violence in Nigeria, sees him as enemy, that he wants to divide Nigeria. You know why? Because the Nigerian government never wanted the international community to know what is going on in Nigeria. They never wanted anybody to know the kind of massacre that was going on in the northern states. And not only northern states. As is happening in northern state, it's also happening in southwest and in the east also. You understand? But their main focus now is in the north, which when they conquer north, they will move to south and the east. You understand? Now what are you seeing here? What you are seeing here is the interview. They interviewed this guy. TVC News interviewed this guy yesterday. You understand? Yesterday is the 14th of April or 13th of April. But what I hear in this interview shocked me. It shocked me. But you know what? I am not surprised. I am not surprised at all, because I know that that is what Nigeria is made for. You understand? The media houses we have in Nigeria has been bought. Yes, all of them has been bought by the Nigerian government. You understand? Because if you watch closely to this journalist here, if you see the kind of question he asked this Mr. Alex, you will begin to imagine what kind of government do we have in Nigeria. I'm telling you the fact. Question that did not supposed to come in the first place. These are the kind of questions they're asking this guy. Question like, you are inciting violence. Are you going to defend yourself? If you are called, what is your mission in Nigeria? What is the purpose of coming to Nigeria? Are you being sent by some group of people to destroy Nigerian government? Or are you looking for Nigerian resources? Just imagine the kind of question a journalist is asking. He's talking about resources. These resources they're always talking about. That America is coming to take resources. Ever since these resources is being in Nigeria, what have we achieved with those resources? What have we achieved on those resources? If resources is your problem, what have we achieved with those resources? If not Britain taking the resources to go and use it and develop their own country, what again do we achieve with those resources in Nigeria? Nothing. Those who came to Nigeria will milk our resources, use it and enrich themselves, use it and develop their country. Our own is just to have resources with our mouth. They just know us as people who have resources. But we don't do anything with the resources. Nothing, absolutely nothing. We are just answering that name. why the people are coming to milk our resources, use it and develop their country. Look at Nigeria. Nigeria is supposed to be one of the greatest countries in Africa. And because of the criminals, the bad governments, the country has become the worst country in Africa. Believe me, Giant of Africa, that was then. Nigeria is not even close to Giant of Africa in Africa now, as I'm talking to you now. In the list, yeah, Nigeria is not close to Giant of Africa. I'm telling you, forget all this. This is their past glory. That name, Giant of Africa, that was their past glory. But currently now, Nigeria is not in the list of Giant of Africa anywhere. I'm telling you the facts. I'm telling you the fact. Before, yeah? House media, we are supposed to be covering what is happening in the country. When things like Boko Haram attack, bandit attack, when there is any chaos in a country, the media will go there to make an investigation, to ask people that live on that location exactly what happened. Then they will bring the news on social media and tell the people what happened. But because of Nigerian medias has been bought, none of them don't do all those things. Because government have already bought them, told them that anywhere you see bandit, terrorists, ISWAP, bad people, don't go there and make any video. That is why you see all those media houses in Nigeria. They are not reporting what is going on in Nigeria because all of them has been bought. You understand? So I want you to watch this interview and hear what this journalist is asking this guy. The kind of question he's asking this guy. You begin to imagine if these people really reason like a human being. You understand? Although I know they have already been bought. So there is nothing truth that will come out from their mouth. Because they will try to talk what will favor the government and not against the government that is being paid them. You understand? So I want you guys to watch this interview and hear from yourself what this guy is asking. Chai! Now, wow.
Are you ready to be held accountable if indeed your comments, your actions and inactions are found to have incited people to violence?
Which laws have been broken, can I ask?
Well,
and even more so, which incitement to violence has been done? You know, I appreciate the prior remarks and context regarding different issues in Nigeria. I would say that it's despicable to try to compare me to anything in Rwanda. It truly is disgusting. When have I called to murder one person? I have never once called for anybody to be murdered. I have called for people to be protected.
Well,
that the government
Alex,
is not doing their job.
Alex, maybe not directly.
Slaughtered.
Maybe not directly. Maybe not directly calling for revenge attacks, but from what you're telling the people, they get more agitated, and this leads to
defend themselves.
Violence.
Yes,
killing. To defend themselves. That we have the government and security agencies.
Protect your own daughter and son from being killed by terrorists? Is that wrong? Is that harmful rhetoric? To protect your families from terrorists? Because it's Christians that we're saying to protect themselves? Everybody should protect themselves. And anybody in their right mind, if they are being threatened, if their daughter, mother, father, anybody is being threatened to be killed, it is their right to protect themselves. If you cannot live in peace and you cannot protect yourself, what country is this? I mean, if you can't live, what is that? Anybody in their right mind would not want their families to be killed. And that's all I call for. If the government is failing to protect you, you should protect yourselves from people who would take your life. There's nothing wrong about that. There's nothing breaking a law about that. There's nothing evil in that. And from my understanding, even in Muslim and Christianity, you should protect yourself from threats. I'm not saying to go and take up arms and go murder the government. I've never called for that. I've never called for anybody to be murdered. I've never called to do anything regarding the government. I said, protect yourselves from people who would threaten your life. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. No law has been broken.
There are also claims that there was a meeting you held with the local population, and after, talking to them, there was a reprisal, a revenge attack that also led to the death of two other people in Plateau State.
That was already done before I arrived. What I noticed was the burning in the fire, the people had taken revenge, and that fire was actually where the attack happened, which I found out after I had left Angwarukuba. So they had killed two people, innocent people that were Muslims from what I was told, in revenge for the original attack. And those two people were in Akeke from what I was told. And so they were killed before I arrived. So it's a false narrative to try to say, oh, because this person came that they went and did this. For 2 decades, have Christians not taken revenge after being attacked in Jos? This is nothing new. It's been happening for 20 years. You know, let me tell you this. The founder of the ministry that I work with in Jos, he was murdered by Muslims in front of the university. He was on the way back from a funeral because it was the middle of a crisis. He was cut into pieces.
Well,
His body parts into pieces in the middle of a crisis. This was 7-8 years ago. I wasn't there. So it's a false narrative to try to say that, oh, because a white man came, all of a sudden people are killing people. For decades, people are killing people.
Alex, you said something earlier that Muslims are also being killed. You talked about Zamfara,
Absolutely.
Katsina State.
Absolutely.
So why continue pushing a narrative that appears to support what they call now the Christian genocide? The question is, why does it appear your activity in Plateau State and indeed Benue State is making an already bad situation worse?
I would first pose the question, what that has been done has made it worse.
Well, your comments and the rhetorics you're pushing, calling on the local population to defend themselves.
Yeah, so I don't really see which comment has been insightful. You know, I've called that one, the terrorism should end, that the government should be doing everything in their power to protect innocent people, Muslim and Christian alike. I've been very vocal about obviously the Christians who are being killed across Plateau, Benue, Taraba, those types of states. But I've never rejected, and I've directly talked about the violence happening in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Sokoto, and Kwara. I mean, the ones who were killed in the Woro massacre, which you're very aware about, were primarily Muslim people. You know, there's still hundreds of people that are in captivity that were kidnapped, both in Kwara, and then also, you know, we saw recently with ISWAP and Boko Haram in Borno State, hundreds of people that are still in captivity. And so the things that I have said, I would say that I would ask people to show me and tell me specifically what rhetoric and what words are causing anything. Because for me, I've called that, yes, innocent people should be defending themselves. You know, in America, we can do this. You know, in America, you have more guns than you do people. And so, you know, this type of issue can't even really happen in America.
But
because
this is,
if I were to go to someone else's house, they would defend themselves. Yeah, no, it's 100% truth. Like I said, Muslims are being killed in Nigeria. This can't be questioned. It's a fact. But there's two things that I want to really be clear about, okay? If you say that Christians are being killed and there may be a Christian genocide, that doesn't mean that Muslims are not being killed in Nigeria. And so I want to be very clear about that. What I am saying and what I have seen with my own eyes and what I've heard from Christians and Muslims alike in Nigeria, there's two things. In Zamfara, in Borno, Kwara, Katsina, Sokoto, Muslims are being killed. Muslims are being kidnapped. Thousands of villages have been burned. It's pure evil. Across the Middle Belt, specifically in Plateau, Kaduna, Benue, Taraba, the truth is that Christians are directly being targeted. That can't even be disputed. And the question that I would ask is, if this is not the case, how many Muslims and how many Fulani people have been killed? How many of their villages have been burned in these states? So again, I'm only referring to Plateau, Taraba, Benue, Kaduna, those places. Fulani cattle herders are not killing their own people. They're not burning their own villages. They're going and targeting Christians in their villages. And so that is why we are saying, okay, in these states, Christians are being targeted. We're not saying Muslims are not being killed and Muslims are not suffering across Nigeria, because they are. That's the truth. It's a fact. And I've never said anything different than that.
All right, Alex, I would ask you now, it has been alleged that, you know, you're serving the interest of foreign influences. How do you explain the allegations that, you know, you were invited by a certain aide to the former governor of Benue State to push certain political agenda in Nigeria?
If I were to respond to every allegation, I would never move from a newsroom. The reality is that people will continue to allege anything they desire, anything they think. And what I would say is, if you want to allege something, then there needs to be evidence or proof of such. You can't just say that I'm going to allege that this person is this person is that, this person has done that, but I have no proof of that actually being done. So if someone wants to say, oh, this person is CIA, he's a foreign operative, foreign agent, what shows that I'm a foreign agent or a foreign operative?
Well,
Is
Alex,
there any type of proof or evidence at all? And even more so, which CIA operative or foreign agent is in the public eye? I mean, everything about me is public. I don't try to hide anything. You can see my life, my history, where I played football, what state I'm from, where I do work, what countries I go to, what I've built. I'm very open. I have nothing to hide. So it's on the burden of the people to show proof, not for me to disprove false allegations with no proof.
all right, countries. Is this about a push for Nigeria's mineral resources, or it is truly about peace and finding lasting solutions to the conflict? And how exactly are you even working with government whose primary responsibility is to ensure the safety of lives and property?
Which minerals have I sought? I haven't done anything regarding any minerals. I've never made comments regarding minerals. I've never touched a mineral. I build churches. I build schools. I rebuild villages that have been burned. I stand for the oppressed. I stand for freedom. I stand for the innocent people to protect themselves from terrorists and people that would take their lives. I've never discussed minerals. I have no interest in minerals. I don't even know what minerals there are in Nigeria. I know there's tin because I saw tin miners mining in Barikin Ladi. So I don't know where these allegations come from outside of people that simply are trying to slander, trying to spread misinformation and propaganda, to try to silence me, to discredit me, to try to shade over the work and the things that I am saying and what I am doing. But the reality is that truth is my greatest defense. Because truth cannot be argued. A fact cannot be argued. Allegations can be argued. And this is an allegation.
All right,
but when there's no proof and there's no facts, there's nothing for me to say. I can't disprove, but there's nothing to respond to.
All right, then. Alex, what next for you? You know, you have left the country. You deny claims or allegations or claims that your visa was revoked, but now you have left Nigeria. You're in Florida. Are there plans to return to continue with your work?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I actually went to Kwara. I wasn't even supposed to be in Plateau during this mission. I went to Kwara to rebuild Woro. And when I got there, between the government, the governor, the chairman, military, they said that we're not allowed to rebuild Woro village. They said there was a heightened security risk in that area. And so I had to reshape everything. I had to drive 20 hours through the night back to Plateau to figure out what I'm going to do and to reallocate those funds specifically for building in Barikin Ladi. And so I'm waiting to still go back to Kwara to build for Woro. I have money specifically for that in the account for rebuilding. And so we're currently drilling. We're rebuilding a village in Barikin Ladi. And so we even did some building in Kebbi. And so, yes, I absolutely have plans to be coming back to continue that work. You know, that Alex, is what I do. And I'm waiting to go to Woro.
Alex, who is funding you? Who's funding your works?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very open about this. So in America, when it comes to nonprofits, the primary people that fund these types of organizations are, one, you have individual people that give to charity. That's how nonprofits are primarily funded. Two, you have churches that give, and then you have also organizations that give. And so you have three pools of people that if they believe in what you're doing, they believe in the work that you're doing and how it's being done or whatever it is, then they support you with funds. This is how it works in America and
what do they want
countries all around the world.
And what do they want in return?
There's nothing in return. You don't get anything. It's charitable. So you give without any type of expectation of being given anything back. So that's how it works for charities and nonprofit organizations, which Building Zion is a nonprofit organization.
Are you committed to seeing lasting peace, or seeing the government, restore lasting peace to Nigeria and ensure that both Christians and Muslim population are protected?
The answer is yes, unequivocally. To me, it's actually a shame that I even need to speak regarding injustice in the killings. And I would actually completely agree with what you just talked about, that if there was justice, I wouldn't even need to say a word. I would prefer that I could come and build a school, build a church in peace, not have to say a word to anybody, not be in the public eye. That's how I began in Nigeria. But because of how much injustice I saw and how every time I come, I'm getting reports from all these pastors, everybody kill. I'm like, how can I be silent? And so when I see those things, I'm like, truth needs to be told, justice needs to be served, and we need to speak for the innocent, speak for the oppressed. And so I am on the side of peace.
All right, then.
I wish there was peace. I wish Muslim and Christian alike that people did not have to be killed. Whether I disagree with your beliefs or not, that's okay. I'm not going to kill you because I disagree.